Good evening, welcome along to Business Today. I'm Jerome Sunker with DrivingBusiness and Akauchi in sign language. This is your daily report. But first, let's have a look at our top stories.
In Business Today, as East Africa fests on uncertainty over Kenyan riots, legislators demand contingency from government as escalations becomes probable. Tourism Ministry, Wildlife Centre and Tourism Association released sector performance report, 2.7 trillion shillings collected from visitor exports. Telecom sector commits effort to robust 5G upgrade as cost and infrastructure demand current internet connectivity.
All right, now let's get right onto it as the telecom sector is upbeat about the 5G network. As subscribers continue to grapple with high internet costs and the slow speed, telecoms are now aiming to invest in ultra 5G internet. The telecom experts say that it's 10 to 100 times faster than the 4G. That is a key objective in the journey of economic growth through digital and financial inclusion. Pedson Mumbere has details of this report.
To fast-track penetration and improve the quality of internet for businesses and personal use, telecom operators are now shifting to fifth generation, that's 5G technology and software-enabled services with new advancements. According to telecom experts, 5G is 10 and 100 times faster than 4G, and achieving this speed is a crucial goal on the path to economic growth through financial and digital inclusion.
We launched, and let's say assume that you buy your data for, let's say, $1 per gig, right? If you go into 5 gig, it's still going to be $1 per gig. It's not going to change because your data is your data. But from a service provider point of view, how do they benefit as service providers is that you will consume your 1 gig much more faster compared to when you're on 4G. Therefore, they can make money much more faster compared to there. But what would be your benefit? Your benefit is that you can be able to do things that were not possible before.
They pointed out that these advancements will boost network scalability, flexibility and security, which will result in a low connectivity cost. Thus, the upgrading from older technology to more modern ones is essential, especially for industries that heavily rely on the internet.
You imagine you have an ambulance hub system. You have regional hospitals, you have these 10 ambulances, they are coming from regional 10 districts and they are all coming to regional hospital and they have patients. The doctor in the theater is able to monitor in real time the condition of each patient. Wouldn't that change the way we deliver medicine? Imagine someone is a farmer supplying horticulture, tomatoes and vegetables, the European market or the Kenyan market. He has a farm that has over 10,000 sensors that are checking temperature, fertilizers, and nutrients. He needs a network that is able to monitor that through the night. If he needs that monitoring on his phone, then the phone he has to be 5G compatible and the network.
According to the 2017 and 2018 Uganda National IT Survey, the growth pattern of internet usage in Uganda has been slow. 76.6% of the study participants attributed it to expensive access charges for the poor penetration, while 49.2% pointed the fingers at low internet speed. Although switching to 5G may seem beneficial, how cost-effective is it?
For example, you may need to stream on YouTube and someone else just needs to do maybe TikTok, depending on which type of service you need to use with 5G. So the packages will be distributed. For example, for someone who needs very high speeds can be charged differently, and someone who needs low speeds can be charged differently. So we sort of offer services based on the requirement of speeds that you need.
So we look at the use cases because once we deploy, then the average cost of serving goes down.
Data from the Digital 2022 Global Overview Report indicate that Uganda had the internet connectivity of 13.92 million users in January 2022 and an internet penetration rate that stood at 29.1% of the total population at the start of 2022. There are anticipations that internet penetration rate will increase after adopting to 5G. Pedson Mumbere, Smart24 TV, Business Today.
All right, now away from that, we look at the tourism post-pandemic recovery. The Ministry of Tourism, Uganda Wildlife Centre and the Tourism Association have unveiled insights into sector performance. From the 2022 report, 2.7 trillion shillings was collected from the visitor exports, with big incomes from accommodation, food and transport, as Uganda maintains its buoyant VFR market. We have more in this report.
In the pandemic year 2020, the tourism industry declined by 69.3% to 473,085 tourists. As the resumption set in, the sector has exponentially grown, registering over 814,508 international visitor arrivals just last year, a 59% increase from 2021, though less by negative 47.8% as compared to 2019. As stakeholders release such performance indicators today, government and the industry are expected to continue promoting and implementing measures for safe and responsible tourism practice.
The tourists generated Uganda shillings 2.7 billion, that is to say 0.736 billion US dollars in Forex in 2022, which is 12.2% of total exports in 2022 and 41.4% of service exports. However, this is still only half of the earnings generated in 2019, which was $1.4 billion. Analysis of the figures shows that business and professional tourists and leisure tourists bring 36% and 24% of our earnings respectively.
As Uganda still commands as one of the top visiting friends and relative markets, sector challenges as well prevail. A public-private sector partnership has been echoed as crucial to overcome industry setbacks, as anticipated in pending policy and operational amendments, for instance for the Museum Act, Tourism Development Levy, and the Tourism Act.
Highlight of the government that they are going to train more private sector actors in capacity building, training to be able to serve the guests. Government can put into place all these laws, but the private sector, this is a private sector driven industry. So if you ignore the private sector, you're not doing anything much. So that's why I love this today, that the government did invite us, the private sector. The private sector is really taken care of in this report, and we hope to have very many more supportive laws. We need to have these laws which are pending, the Museum Act, the Tourism Act reviewed and actually start to be implemented, so that even we as the private sector can have some of the things implemented. So for instance, we urgently need the tourism development levy. We need to be able to train our people. Training is expensive. We cannot do it on our own as private sector. We cannot do it as government. But if we work hand in hand, we can be able to collect money from the private sector.
The sector has expressed optimism, evidence in growing visitor arrivals, and a resurgence in collateral services such as transport and accommodation. This follows interventions like digital marketing and online permit systems, implementation of report recommendations that include upgrade of protected areas, among other undertakings, is envisioned to spur redemption.
And we hope year 2023, we need to perform much better. We cannot hit the mark of 1.5 million tourists we had last year, but we should go beyond the mark of 1 million. And when you have beyond mark of 1 million tourists, meaning you should also reach the level of over 3.5 trillion Uganda shillings in terms of earning.
Enhancing regulation, coordination and management of the sector has been underlined as a critical factor to support full-scale recovery and sector growth. Martha Nimsima, Smart24 TV, Business Today.
Now, the Ugandan banking sector has been resilient enough. Away from the current global banking crisis that has seen key lenders collapse, local financial sector players seem informed. Stanbic Bank has today declared its performance results for 2022, where 272 billion shillings was expanded in tax vis-a-vis 139 billion in revenue. Bronia Katosime has details here.
Uganda's banking sector seems aware of the ravaging banking crisis that has seen key banks such as Signature and SVB collapse at the backdrop of inflation and high lending rates. Today, Stanbic Bank, one of the main players in the sector, has released its performance results amidst global sector shakeup. An improvement from 19% in 2021 to 22% last year has been recorded following growth across major metrics supported by an increase in business activity upon reopening of the economy. 357 billion shillings has been recorded in profit after tax, up from 269 billion shillings in 2021. 495 billion shillings in cost last year was noted compared to 482 billion shillings in 2021, and a gross revenue of 1,039 billion shillings last year.
The macroeconomics have been challenging. That goes without saying. Cost of living challenges across the board. We're still recovering from the pandemic. And never mind the challenges we've had with Ebola. Still recovering from the effects or the after effects of that. But safe to say, we continue to dig our heels in and look at the areas of focus and continue to grow this business to the benefit of our shareholders.
Developments in finance infrastructure, such as agent banking, has been highlighted as revolutionary in the banking space, supporting financial inclusion. Although the company managed to pay 272 billion shillings in tax while reaching 2 million Ugandans through SACCOs, there is still need to improve transparency in the financial sector, especially in terms of data transmission to mitigate associated risks.
But now, because we have the power of technology, using your capability, you can access the bank and do almost everything you want to do on your phone. So FlexiPay continues to be a growth engine for us. Extending agency banking capability. Banking should be at your door if you need the cash. You should be able to use that. The third pillar in our future-ready transformation is data. Data is the new fuel. How we transform, how we use data, one, to serve you better as our customers. So it goes back to our earlier pillar of transforming your client experience. It goes into risk mitigation.
Prudent risk management, innovative solutions, and a customer-centric approach have been quoted as means to navigate challenging economic conditions. Brenia Katsime, Smart24 TV, Business Today.
All right, now, away from that, legislators continue to show their disappointment over what they call government's continued silence on the Kenyan riots, which they say are going to disrupt businesses for many Ugandans very soon. And now, the legislators want government to set a position over the Kenyan riots. We have more details in this report.
Last week, Parliament demanded that government provide a detailed report on the situation surrounding the riots in Kenya and how Uganda is positioned to handle the crisis should businesses be disrupted. Parliament has not yet received a definitive response regarding the issue. The issue has once more been brought up in Parliament by Member of Parliament Honorable Lutamaguzi Semakula.
We are supposed to get an answer from government, but they are still very silent about it. I don't know whether they are still planning or thinking about it secretly, but as the public is supposed to know what is likely to happen.
According to the legislator, every Monday riots happening in Kenya may disrupt fuel prices, yet Ugandans are not ready for that situation right now.
We are not sure of how much we have in the reserves, because in case this chaos turn out to be chaotic, I don't think that Ugandans can survive for a week according to the amount of fuel we might be having in the reserves. So government should come out openly and inform Ugandans what is likely to happen, and in case it continues like it has been in the last 2 weeks, what measures have they put in place to ensure that at least we can have constant supply of goods we used to have.
The member was joined by other legislators who have cautioned government to give Ugandans an answer to the readiness of government to handle this matter.
It is common knowledge to all of us that Kisumu and Mombasa are critical when you come to Uganda. They are very, very, very important in that Uganda is a landlocked country. And these are the areas that Leila Odinga has the most power. And that is the route where there is most of the protesters. And therefore, it has a great impact on the economy of the country, particularly Uganda. And therefore, the government should come out to see how best they can talk to Kenyans so that we can have our economy boosted.
Of Kenya is one of our biggest trading partner in the region, just like South Sudan and DRC. So we trade quite a lot with the people of Kenya. And we also recognize that there is some kind of political unrest in Kenya that would in effect disrupt trade, disrupt the movement of people and goods, and therefore it will affect Uganda directly.
Honorable Nathan Byanyima, on the other hand, has called on Ugandans to be calm about this situation because he is very confident that the Commander-in-Chief is in control of the situation and there's nothing to worry about as far as businesses of Ugandans is concerned.
I'm sure our leader here, our president, is the leader of all leaders in Africa. So I expect him to be thinking hard to ensure that he intervenes and things cool down. Because what hurts Kenyans hurts Ugandans. And I'm sure something good will come out very soon. I'm not worried, and I don't want Ugandans to get worried. Yes, we would, but things are under control. Kenyans are working together with us, and it's to ensure that all of us move together. Because if we don't get services, they want to get money. So they rely on us like we rely on them.
The Speaker of Parliament, Anita Mong, has yet again directed government to bring a report on the National Fuel Reserve as well as a clear report on the Kenyan situation. In the most recent Monday riots in the Republic of Kenya, 3 people have already died, prompting the Organization of African Unity body to call for calm in the nation. Samlanifa, Smart24 TV, Business Today.
Meanwhile, now in Kasese, farmers have been urged to embrace organic food farming. Well, agricultural experts have urged farmers to embrace organic food farming in order to minimize production costs and boost their household income. Agriculture being the backbone of our wealth and revenue, it is essential that people embrace agriculture. And with the world shifting to organic produce, more input in organic farming will help Uganda be able to tap the growing market for organic produce. Samuel Kirimunda has details.
Organic farming is widely considered to be a far more sustainable alternative when it comes to food production. Organic crops may not require so much efficient husbands like fertilizers and pesticides, whose use requires a lot of money to buy and sustain. Also, organically grown produce have lower levels of pesticides residue. Therefore, farmers in Rwenzori sub-region have been advised to engage in organic farming if they are to realize good profits from their farm produce. While addressing stakeholders' engagement forum on organic production and marketing in Kasese town, the district agriculture officer, Mr. Julius Rukara, revealed that organic farming can help farmers to reap more from their produce and also enables people to live healthy, since they can feed on healthy food.
These organic products fetch more prices than inorganic products. When you engage yourself in organic farming, you produce products that are organic, that are from the market, they fetch more price than those that are conventionally produced.
According to the Deputy RDC Busongora, Mr. Zefanas Movingwa, farmers should adopt organic farming in order to optimize pests and diseases that usually attack the crops.
You may find that in some few areas, people are not adopting these new technologies at the same time with other areas. But what I can say is the help of GORFA, our extension workers and CBFs, and these extension link farmers.
The Executive Director, Great Lakes Organic Farmers Association, Mr. Longino Masireka, said that there is still lack of local market for organic products compared to those exported to other countries.
The main theme was about creating more awareness on the consumption of organic products locally in Uganda here. We have been much more into export market of organic products, but the local market is not yet well developed. We realized that there was a gap between the organic producers and the organic consumers.
The Katwe Kabatoro District Councillor, Mr. Muzamiru Bisanga, noted that the spraying of chemicals in gardens is very dangerous since a large area land can be affected when such chemicals get eroded by rain.
There is a lot of spraying of cotton. And because of the steep hills we live in, I am worried that the organic certification may lie in the balance, because when it rains, these gardens that have been sprayed, especially the cotton gardens and those others that use pesticides and whatever, those pesticides can be swept by flood, by rainwater into gardens.
Farmers need to practice good farming methods by adapting the latest technology. This will promote commercial agriculture and its subsequent benefits. In Kasese District, organic farming is ideal for the production of food without the use of synthetic chemicals or genetically modified components. Andrew Barije, Samuel Chirimunda, Smart24 Business Today.
Business Today now does head into a commercial break, but we return with more business reports.